Hi world, it's about 8:30, 9 p.m. in the evening on Sunday the 20th of December 2020. Tomorrow morning, in about 12 hours time from now, it's the winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, 3 minutes past 10 a.m. UK time. That's the summer solstice in the Southern Hemisphere. Solstice, sun still. Followed tomorrow evening in about, 20 hours from now by the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. And friend sent me a great picture of that tonight, taken from Wiltshire. And hopefully I'll be able to put that as my front piece tomorrow. Where I am in the UK, in London, we're under the most draconian lockdown situations now, and all over the world at the moment, it seems. India, Australia, mainland Europe, America, Mexico, the UK. COVID's really bad. I know that a lot of you still think it's a man-made disease. Doesn't matter, it's here. A lot of you think that it's not real, which kind of blows me away, because I deal with a lot of medical professionals who are on the front line, and I believe them. I believe the stories they tell me. Right now it's tough. Mars in the sky is in Aries, and it's going to be squaring Pluto for the third and final time this year on Tuesday of this week, Tuesday morning UK time of this week. So Mars is squaring Pluto right now, has been for the last 3 or 4 days. And add to this that we're heading into a period in January and early February, which is, to be honest, it's looking pretty messy. It sounds really despondent and depressing, but actually it's not. Because I'd remind you what I've said a number of times so far, and what I've been saying since the start of COVID. I'm no expert on world affairs. I mean, I listen to about 7 or 8 different types of media daily from all around the world. I observe different social media. I try and get as broad a perspective as possible. But at the end of the day, I get my information mainly from the people I do astrological readings for. And when you do 20 or so, 25 or so readings a week, consistently, you get an impression of what's going on for individuals. And the more you see patterns repeating in certain individuals' lives, the more you get an idea of how this pattern's then going to manifest in the outside world. And consistently, since April of this year, I've been seeing patterns that suggest that by the time we're into the second half of February 2021, certainly at the latest by the end of February 2021, the hardest time of 2021 is over. And from then on, things are going to start stabilising in a way that's going to speak not of sweetness and light and easiness. And we're not going back to the way we were, but it's going to stop getting any worse, and it's going to stabilise, and we're heading into a much more regular and consistent pattern in the second 10 months of 2021. Of course, next year the big thing is Saturn square Uranus, and that is going to permanently change forever the way we deal with things like economies, money, profits, economic balances, economic status. But that's going to be a necessity, because the level of debt in this last year has gone through the roof, and the whole world's in debt to everybody else. No one actually knows who the debt is to. Meantime, we just keep printing money. So something's going to give, but that's next year. And that's economic. It's not so much connected with physical health patterns. Meantime, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, we are at the darkest of times, both metaphorically and literally. Literally because we're at the time of the longest night and the shortest day. Metaphorically because we're in the darkest and deepest of lockdowns. And a lot of people are going, is there no end to this? Now, I'm not a fortune teller. Some people call me a misfortune teller. But I'm pretty good. I don't get it right all the time, but I get it right more than most. I get it right 75-80% of the time. And I do urge you to sort of have, not faith, but hope. That we're going to come out of this, and we're going to come out of this in a much better space than we went into it. In a much saner space, with a much greater appreciation and a greater sense of value of what's really important. Yes, we can go back to the burgers and fries and the targeting and shafting and sniping at each other and the horribleness of the social media. Or we can learn the lessons of this and start being a little bit kinder to each other, a little bit human to each other. And coming back to something I said yesterday about social media, with now Jupiter and Saturn now both in Aquarius. A couple of people have suggested to me in the last 24 hours, and this is a really good idea. Wouldn't it, the biggest thing about social media and its nastiness is that all the trolls and all the nastiness is being done from a hidden perspective. Wouldn't it be a good idea if the social media companies were not to allow anyone to post on social media unless they used their real name? So there's no hiding behind a made up name. Because, 95%, not all, but 95% of the people who troll me, you're hiding behind a name, a made up name, because you're actually scared to put your real name on. Unlike many others who, whether I agree with them or not, if they put their real name up, I will converse with them. I will deal with them. I will interact with them, because they have got the strength and the courage of their convictions to be able to stand up for what they believe in, even if I disagree with them. But they're not hiding behind a pseudonym. At the moment now we've got Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. The moon is now, I don't know, towards the end of Pisces, I'm guessing. Yeah, well it's in mid Pisces now. And the next 2 or 3 days are probably going to be pretty difficult, to be honest. I don't expect much change now in the general news of doom and gloom from now through to, say, December the 26th, 27th. And then as we get into the very early new year, so Mars will leave Aries. And as we get into the first week of January, second week of January, so Mars will square Saturn. And then in the third and fourth week of January, Mars will, being in Taurus, conjunct Uranus and square Jupiter. And then at the start of February, Jupiter will move on, but Saturn will begin to bite and start squaring Uranus. But then by mid-late February, the hardest astrological patterns of 2021 are over. There will, of course, be isolated, short, sharp periods of concentrated pressure and intensity. But these will be for a few days at a time. Thing is, I have been saying this pretty consistently since the first lockdown in March about how this is going to take a year and how we've got to get through to mid-end February 2022. And now here we are with sort of 8 weeks to go, 9 weeks to go. And it's always darkest just before dawn. And I'm getting the emails, I'm getting the texts, and I'm speaking to people, and I'm seeing stuff on various forms of media about people going, I just want to give up. I want to give in. Don't. It's only when you get to the bottom that you find out how strong you really are. And I know, because those of you who know me well, you know I've been to the bottom. I've been to the very bottom, and I fought and I came back. I crawled in the mud, and I came back. If I can do it, anyone can do it. You never give up, not till the day you die. Because you got to be proud of yourselves, folks. You've actually got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, no, I am a good person and I'm doing my best. And at the moment, that's all that we can be asking of ourselves, to do our best, to get up each morning and to do our best, to help those who need our help, to help those who depend on us, and to not be scared to reach out to other people and say, hey, I'm feeling really alone. Can we talk? It's not as if we can even hug, but can we talk? Yeah, it's always darkest just before dawn, and right now we're just before that dawn point. Literally, I mean, in 48 hours' time from now, we're into the astrological new year, and the days will start getting longer, albeit only for a second or two at a time for the first week or two. But by the time we're into the middle of January, we'll start seeing a bit more daylight up here in the Northern Hemisphere. The light will return. The blossoms will come out. People's smiles will get broader. Yes, I may sound sickeningly optimistic, but without hope, we are hopeless. So hang in there, because it's not been like this before. It's not always going to be like this in the future, and we will look back at this and go, hey, I learned a hell of a lot, not only about myself, but about the planet I live on, about the communities I interact with, and about the nature of humanity. So hang in there, folks. Keep going. Do your best to have us sober, metaphorically at least, at a time as you possibly can over the next few days. And yeah, tomorrow morning it's Solstice. I mean, Stonehenge was never going to happen for me this year. I knew that from about June onwards. And I had plans up until yesterday to do a private little runaway to a place that I know that not many people know, which is a really sacred spot. As it is, I'm now going to be going somewhere in my immediate neighbourhood that, again, very few people know about, but I've sort of dug out. And I'll fill you in more on that when I've done it tomorrow night. Meantime, a few hours now till solstice. We're entering a 24-hour period now that I would call the long, dark night of the soul. Take some time out to reflect, repose, reassess, reconsider. Don't make any big changes or judgments or actions in the next 24 hours. This time tomorrow, we're going to be on the other side of this. Till then, catch you later, world. Bye.